gonna play a little bit from standing for a body lock. From here, my opponents usually try to walk away. The good thing to do is I'll look to step in front of my opponent's knee, sort of placing his hands on towards the mat. From here, I'll go foot to foot, knee in front of my opponent's knee, and I'll circle and break my opponent down to either a knee or a hip. If he lands in a knee, I'll crack him down further to the hip position. From here, he's gonna look to scissor his leg and ice up. I'll insert my first boot, typically in a foot-to-foot fashion outside my opponent's legs. Immediately after, I'll look to get power half on the far side. He'll probably spaz and move a little bit from here. I'll use this power half to open him up, put my heel in my opponent's hip line, and then I can start attacking the back, attacking the chokes.
Nice flexible fucking legs, man.
Fucking go anyway. Oh, no worries. Hey, when you're standing for a body lock and you're standing over the knee, right? Don't put hands in the back. I think it's a better idea to keep your knee high and your toes off the mat until you put your opponent's hands on the ground. So you keep your knee high and tight, pinching his leg together, and then put his hands on the ground. Yep. Here, let me do it too. So doing standing with body lock. Here. Circling down. From here, you're going to scissor up. As you get to turn, I insert first boot, and I go power half. I'm using this to expose your back and attack chokes. Thank you. Yep. Right, so you're very deep with your right hand. Now your left hand out here is just I feel left hand here is just posted so you don't throw. Now as he scissors up, we're gonna be retracting our right elbow, so he scissors slow. As he goes, we insert our first hook. But we have to do it a little bit sooner. So like at the second he starts scissoring, we start inserting boot. Yep. Now stay on top of his hips and get half Nelson. Or power half, sorry. Yep. Thank you. So another great way that looks good on camera, trying to put our opponent down to the mat from here, is just a solid suplex, right? Or just a lifting of the hips. But no suplex. It just sounded better. I step in front of my opponent's knee in the same way I would if I was placing his hands on the mat. But instead of continuing that forward momentum, as I step in front, I deepen my hands and I get my hips slightly under my opponent's hips. From here, I can look to hip in and place my opponent down towards the ground. Now, typically when I'm lifting my opponent, I'll take a deep step in front and get my hands deeper. I step right in front of my opponent's knee. I insert my hips, and as I'm picking him up, I also lift my knee and follow him down towards the mat. Now, what this does is helps kind of save me a bit. Because sometimes, as you're landing, guys will look to roll to legs or they look to start branding. If you have that knee, you're kind of a bit safer from getting re-attacking that way, just because you're attached to its legs, so it makes it easier to defend. So I step in front, pinch my knees, start picking them up, get my hips under his. As I lift, I start picking up my lead leg to guide him, and boom, down towards the mat, and we're back to re-attack. So again, just another way to mat return our opponents. Even if he's walking away, boom, I take a deep step in front, plant my foot, hip in, block the legs, and same thing, he's looking to scissor up. I insert my first boot, and start attacking the back. As he breaks the grip and starts circling, I start changing my level and re-attacking the legs. Typically, I'll have a grip that's similar to like one hand on the low ankle, one hand on the hip, so I can like kind of turn my opponent. But there's a bunch of different ways we can re-attack the legs. All depends about how he reacts. So here, he breaks my grip, and I allow the grip to be broken as I change my levels, and I start stepping in, re-attacking. Typically, I'll grab a far ankle and grip around the hip, and keep walking forward until I get the back on the mat. So once again, great option from here. Our opponent's breaking the grips. As he breaks it, I change levels, start re-attacking. Typically with a ankle and a hip grip, get my opponent's back on the mat. 1, 2, 3.